3,000 human beings, dissected alive, without anesthesia, frozen in sub-zero temperatures and then thawed, infected with biological weapons. And the doctors who committed these atrocities were never prosecuted, because America hid them. Welcome to Classified, Hidden Histories, where we uncover the secrets they never wanted you to know. I'm your host, and today we're diving into one of the most disturbing cover-ups in American history, the story of Unit 731, and how America protected history's most sadistic war criminals. The year is 1940. In the remote hills of Japanese-occupied Manchuria, a sprawling complex rises from the frozen ground. To local villagers, it looks like a lumber mill. The Japanese call it the Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department. But its real name is Unit 731, and it's about to become the site of the most horrific medical experiments in human history. The man in charge is Dr. Shiro Ishii, a brilliant microbiologist who has convinced the Japanese military that biological weapons will win them the war. Ishii is charming, charismatic, and completely without conscience. He refers to his test subjects not as human beings, but as logs, pieces of wood to be cut up and studied. The first logs arrive in cattle cars. Chinese civilians, Soviet prisoners of war, Mongolian farmers, Korean resistance fighters, men, women, children, anyone the Japanese consider expendable. They're told they're being relocated to work camps. Instead, they're being delivered to hell. What happens next defies comprehension. Dr. Ishii and his team of 3,000 researchers begin experiments that make Nazi medical experiments look humane by comparison. They want to understand the limits of human endurance, the effects of disease, the mechanics of death itself. Prisoners are infected with plague, cholera, typhus, and anthrax. Doctors document their suffering with clinical detachment, taking notes as victims die in agony. But infection is just the beginning. Some prisoners are subjected to vivisection, surgery on living, conscious human beings. Without anesthesia, doctors cut open stomachs, remove organs, and observe how long their subjects survive. Pregnant women are cut open so researchers can study fetal development at different stages. Others are taken to freezing chambers where temperatures drop to -50 degrees Fahrenheit. Doctors want to study frostbite, so they freeze prisoners' limbs until the flesh turns black, then thaw them to see how much damage occurred. Some victims have their frozen limbs shattered with hammers. The experiments grow more sadistic by the day. Prisoners are buried alive to study asphyxiation. They're hung upside down to see how long blood takes to reach the brain. They're spun in centrifuges until they die from the pressure. By 1945, Unit 731 has killed over 3,000 people in the most brutal ways imaginable. But the facility's true horror isn't just the experiments. It's that every death is meticulously documented. The Japanese are creating the world's most comprehensive database of human biological warfare research. August 15, 1945. Emperor Hirohito announces Japan's surrender over the radio. As American forces prepare to occupy Japan, military intelligence receives disturbing reports about Japanese biological weapons programs. The first American to learn about Unit 731 is Colonel Murray Sanders, a microbiologist sent to investigate Japanese chemical and biological warfare capabilities. What he discovers in classified Japanese documents makes his blood run cold. Sanders realizes he's stumbled upon research that could revolutionize biological warfare. The Japanese have conducted experiments no Western scientist would ever be allowed to perform. They've tested diseases on human subjects, documented the results, and created detailed reports on biological weapons effectiveness. For the American military, this presents a terrible dilemma. The research represents scientific data that could give America a massive advantage in the emerging Cold War with the Soviet Union. But obtaining it would mean protecting war criminals whose crimes rival anything committed by the Nazis. The decision is made at the highest levels of American government. In October 1945, just 2 months after Japan's surrender, the U.S. military begins secret negotiations with Dr. Shiro Ishii and his research team. The deal is simple. In exchange for complete immunity from war crimes prosecution, the Unit 731 researchers will hand over all their data to American scientists. The Japanese will never face trial. Their victims will never receive justice. Their crimes will never be acknowledged. General Douglas MacArthur, the American military governor of occupied Japan, personally approves the arrangement. He argues that the research data is too valuable to lose and too dangerous to fall into Soviet hands. The scientific information, he claims, could save American lives in future conflicts. The cover-up of Unit 731 requires massive coordination across multiple American agencies. The Army, Navy, CIA, and State Department all participate in hiding the truth from the world. First, they eliminate the evidence. American forces help Japanese scientists destroy remaining research facilities and documentation that might implicate them in war crimes. Thousands of documents are burned. Laboratory equipment is dismantled. Mass graves are covered over. Next, they silence potential witnesses. The few Unit 731 survivors who might testify about their experiences are intimidated, discredited, or simply ignored. When Chinese and Soviet investigators try to gather evidence of Japanese war crimes, American officials block their efforts. Most importantly, they protect the perpetrators. Dr. Ishii and his top researchers are given new identities and comfortable positions in American-sponsored research programs. Some work directly for the U.S. military. Others join American pharmaceutical companies or universities. The American public is told nothing about Unit 731. When the International Military Tribunal for the Far East begins prosecuting Japanese war criminals, in 1946, Unit 731 is mysteriously absent from the charges. Unlike the Nuremberg trials in Germany, which exposed Nazi medical experiments, the Tokyo trials completely ignore biological warfare crimes. This silence is deliberate. American prosecutors have been instructed to avoid any mention of Unit 731 or biological weapons research. The official reason is national security, but the real reason is protecting American access to Japanese research data. While the world believes Japan's war criminals are being punished, many Unit 731 researchers are actually working for the American military. The collaboration begins almost immediately after Japan's surrender. Dr. Ishii provides American scientists with detailed reports on biological weapons effectiveness. The data includes mortality rates for various diseases, optimal delivery methods, and environmental factors affecting biological agent survival. It's information that would take decades to obtain through ethical research, if it could be obtained at all. American military scientists are horrified by the research methods, but fascinated by the results. The Unit 731 data becomes the foundation for America's own biological weapons program, conducted at facilities like Fort Detrick in Maryland. Some Japanese researchers are brought directly to the United States to continue their work. They're given security clearances, laboratory access, and generous funding. Their past crimes are classified information that even their American colleagues don't know about. The collaboration proves incredibly valuable for American military planning. Unit 731's research helps develop biological weapons delivery systems, protective equipment for American troops, and medical countermeasures against biological attacks. By 1950, the United States has the world's most advanced biological weapons program, built on the foundation of Japanese war crimes. American military planners can calculate casualty rates, predict disease spread patterns, and design effective biological attacks, all thanks to data obtained through torture and murder. As the Cold War intensifies, American officials convinced themselves that protecting Unit 731 was the right decision. They argue that Soviet biological weapons research poses an existential threat to America, and that fighting fire with fire is the only rational response. The Korean War provides a test case for this philosophy. American forces used biological weapons against North Korean and Chinese troops, employing delivery methods developed with Unit 731 data. When communist forces accuse America of biological warfare, U.S. officials deny the charges, but classified documents later reveal the accusations were true. Throughout the 1950s and 1960s, former Unit 731 researchers continue working with American scientists. They help develop new biological agents, test delivery systems, and plan potential biological attacks against Soviet targets. The partnership that began with war crimes immunity has evolved into ongoing scientific collaboration. The moral compromise seems worthwhile to American leaders. They've prevented the Soviet Union from gaining access to Unit 731 research, advanced American biological weapons capabilities, and maintained scientific superiority in a critical area of military technology. But the collaboration comes at a cost. By protecting war criminals, America has abandoned its commitment to justice and accountability. By using research obtained through torture, American scientists have become complicit in crimes against humanity. For 30 years, the Unit 731 cover-up remains largely successful. Occasional researchers and journalists ask uncomfortable questions, but American officials dismiss their concerns or classify relevant documents beyond public reach. The first major crack in the cover-up comes in 1976, when a Japanese journalist named Akira Makino publishes a detailed exposé of Unit 731. His investigation reveals not only the scope of Japanese war crimes, but also America's role in protecting the perpetrators. American officials initially dismiss Makino's reporting as communist propaganda designed to embarrass the United States. But his documentation is too comprehensive to ignore. Classified documents, survivor testimonies, and scientific records all confirm his allegations. In 1981, author John Powell publishes additional evidence of American collaboration with Unit 731 researchers. His investigation reveals specific details about biological weapons tests conducted with Japanese data, including experiments on American prisoners of war. The revelations create significant controversy in academic and policy circles, but receive limited mainstream media attention. Most Americans remain unaware of their government's protection of Japanese war criminals or use of research obtained through torture. By the 1990s, enough evidence has emerged to confirm the basic facts of the Unit 731 cover-up. Declassified documents reveal the extent of American collaboration with Japanese war criminals, the value placed on their research, and the deliberate decision to prioritize scientific advancement over justice. Today, the Unit 731 story forces us to confront difficult questions about American values and foreign policy. How do we reconcile America's role as a defender of human rights with its protection of war criminals? How do we balance national security concerns against moral principles? The biological weapons research obtained from Unit 731 may have advanced American military capabilities, but it came at an enormous ethical cost. By protecting war criminals, America abandoned its commitment to justice. By using research obtained through torture, American scientists violated fundamental principles of medical ethics. The victims of Unit 731 never received justice. Their suffering was never acknowledged. Their deaths never avenged. They remain forgotten casualties of a scientific collaboration built on atrocity. Dr. Shiro Ishii lived comfortably in Japan until his death in 1959. He was never prosecuted for war crimes. He never apologized to his victims. He never faced consequences for overseeing the torture and murder of thousands of innocent people. The American officials who protected him justified their decision as necessary for national security. They argued that obtaining Unit 731 research data served the greater good, even if it meant compromising moral principles. But was it worth it? Did the scientific knowledge gained from torture and murder actually make America safer? Or did it simply create new moral compromises that continue to haunt American foreign policy today? The Unit 731 cover-up established a precedent that America continues to follow. When national security conflicts with moral principles, security wins. When scientific advancement requires ethical compromise, advancement takes priority. This precedent has shaped American policy for decades. From supporting dictators who serve American interests to conducting unethical experiments on unwitting subjects, the logic established in the Unit 731 case continues to influence government decision-making. The next time you hear American officials criticize other countries for human rights violations, remember Unit 731. Remember that America once protected history's most sadistic war criminals because their research data seemed useful. Remember that every great nation has dark secrets in its past. America's commitment to human rights and justice has always been complicated by competing interests and moral compromises. The truth about Unit 731 doesn't diminish America's genuine achievements or invalidate its role as a force for good in the world. But it does remind us that even democracies can make terrible moral choices when they believe their survival is at stake. In the end, the Unit 731 story is about more than Japanese war crimes or American cover-ups. It's about the eternal tension between moral principles and practical necessities, between idealism and realism, between what we say we believe and what we actually do when tested. The victims of Unit 731 deserve to be remembered not as footnotes to Cold War history, but as human beings whose suffering contributed to scientific knowledge that America still uses today. Their names may be forgotten, but their legacy lives on in every biological weapons research program, every medical ethics guideline, and every debate about the limits of acceptable scientific research. This is Classified, Hidden Histories, where we uncover the secrets they never wanted you to know. Because the truth about our past shapes the choices we make about our future.